Hello and welcome, guys, and welcome to this session whereby we are now starting the most important chapter of your syllabus, guys. Yes, rules were one such subject which was one such chapter which was really important, and it held 20 to 25 marks of your examination paper. And this chapter which we are going to start today is again almost 30 to 35 marks chapter in your subject. This is the base of any professional. This is the roots of the profession. The profession stems out of these roots, be it chartered accountancy, be it company secretary, be it cost accountants. All three of them stem out from these roots. Today we are going to start the roots, the basics of our profession, our cost accountancy profession. And the basics are cost accounting standards. Guys, theory and practical both comes in abundance from this chapter in the examination. Examiners' favorite questions are asked from this chapter, cost accounting standards, not only from your exam point of view, but also in a professional life point of view. One thing which will really be a monopoly, will be exclusively dealt by only cost accountants, is the cost accounting standards. Guys, no other profession, CA, CS, law, no other profession deals with cost accounting standards as we do, cost accountants do. So this is one such thing which is the platform of your profession. This will yield you marks in the examination and also make you a better professional in the professional world. So yes, that is the importance of this chapter. Overview of cost accounting standards and GAAP. What is GAAP? GAAP is generally accepted cost accounting principles. So guys, as I've already told you, you can easily expect, so 40 may be an exaggeration, but you can easily expect 30 to 35 marks of paper from this chapter. And please don't be surprised if the examiner gives you questions worth more than even 30 to 35 marks, because so is this chapter. This chapter is really that important, cost accounting standards. So before coming on to cost accounting standards, I want to discuss a very general thing with you, because you've been studying standards since ages. In accounts, in cost accounts, you've been studying standards. So I just want to know, what do you mean by standards? I just want to know this. Forget about cost accounting standards. Forget about accounting standards. Forget about any technical jargon which you have read or studied in your past. Forget about everything. Just tell me, what is the common meaning of word standard? What is the common meaning? A meaning that can be used in common parlance, which can be used in our daily routine, daily lives. What is that meaning of standard? What is meaning of standard? Guys, standard denotes in common parlance a benchmark, a mark which we look up to, and a mark which we want to maintain in our lives. So an example can be hygiene standards. We want to live in a house which is absolutely hygienic. We have to maintain hygiene of our house. That is our hygienic standard. We have to maintain personal hygiene. We have to take a bath at least once a day. We have to brush our teeth at least twice a day. This is personal hygiene which we have set for ourselves. These are benchmarks. These are standards. It's up to you. You may not follow them, and it's up to you. You may follow them. So every person has a different way of living life. Some people don't like taking a bath, taking a shower for 3 days or 4 days. They say, oh, we are not dirty, so we need not take bath for 3 days, 4 days. It's okay. For them, it's okay to not take a shower for 3 to 4 days. But if I am a hygienic person and I have established standards for myself, I will definitely take a bath at least once a day. I will try to do that, because at least I as a person am not freshened up unless and until I take a bath. I am not freshened up. I feel really lazy around the day if I am not taken a bath. I cannot live without taking a bath for a day. It's a standard which we have developed for ourselves. It is living standard which we have developed for ourselves. I cannot live without a particular facility. Say, someone is used to a particular car. I cannot live without this car. It is the standard which you have made for yourself. And it's not necessary that the person who has not maintained a standard for himself is lower or higher than you. Not necessary. It is a personal choice, depends on person to person. I am not judging you if you have not maintained your hygienic standards. I am not judging you if you have not maintained your daily routine standards, brushing standards, or your daily work standards. I am not judging you. That's perfectly fine. It's your call. It's your standard. But I have made this standard for myself that I will do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things. That is the meaning of word standard. It's a benchmark, or it's a mark which is looked up to by everyone who is wanting to follow a particular standard in a particular activity. This is known as standard. Okay, sir. So we got, in a broad sense, what do you mean by standard? So we got the meaning of the word standard. Now, where does this standard word emanate from? Let's go back to history and let's analyze where does these standards which we use in our commerce world, they emanate from, they stem up from. Because sir, we have seen standards in accounts, we have seen standards in secretarial practice, we have seen standards in CMA, and now though even the standards are there for income tax. ICDS, Income Computation and Disclosure Standards. So all the commerce fields have got standards to maintain and have got standards to follow. Now let us go back to history and analyze and see where do these standards emanate from, what is the use of these standards, why are we so harping upon these standards, what is the relevance of standards for us, the commerce professional, why is all this thing happening. Okay guys, so let's go to the genesis or the roots of standards. Let me ask you a very simple question. Tell me, what is C plus O2? What is C plus O2? So we are not a science student. We are not abridged with or well versed with these chemistry jargons. So we don't know what is C plus O2. Oh, it is not about science. You've taken science in your 9th or 10th standard, right? You know basic chemistry. Yes, sir. We know basic chemistry. So if you know basic chemistry, then you should know that one element of carbon combined with two elements of oxygen makes CO2, carbon dioxide. Yes, sir. Now we remember C plus O2 is equal to CO2. Okay. One more example, guys. H plus O2 is equal to what? One element of hydrogen plus two elements of oxygen is equal to what? Sir, it's H2O, water. Yes, absolutely. So C plus O2 is equal to CO2. H, one element of hydrogen combined with two elements of oxygen is water. This is the chemistry principle which we had studied in our 8th or 9th standard when we took chemistry as one of the subjects and science was one of the mandatory subjects, and we had equation balancing in our syllabus. So this is a part of equation balancing which we had studied in chemistry. So what do you mean? I'm coming on to my point now. Tell me, C plus O2. I am currently in Delhi and I am in this studio which is very well lit up, and I am here with two glasses, two beakers, one containing C, other containing O. C is 1 unit, O is 2 units, and I am mixing these two elements. What will it become? Sir, CO2. Naturally CO2. Okay. I have another beaker which contains two elements of oxygen and which contains one element of hydrogen. I am mixing both of them. What will it become? So naturally H2O, water. Perfect. So now the same experiment is being done in Mumbai. I quickly travel to Mumbai, I take a flight to Mumbai and I repeat the same experiment over there. And guys, do remember, that Delhi is not the financial hub of the country, but Mumbai is the financial hub of the country. In Mumbai, the speed or the pace of people working is much more faster than Delhi. Delhi is a little laid back as compared to Mumbai. So Mumbai, the economy of Mumbai as compared to Delhi is much more advanced. Mumbai is much more advanced than Delhi. Its consumers, its users, its consumption pattern, its business scenario, its economy, its everything is different from Delhi. Delhi is much slower than Mumbai as far as its economy and business perspective is concerned. Yes, sir, we know that. So I quickly take a flight, land in Mumbai, and in Mumbai, I repeat the same experiment. C plus O2, what will it give? Sir, CO2. Okay. H plus O2, what will it give? Sir, H2O. Oh, really? Will it yield the same result? Absolutely, sir. It will yield the same result. Oh, okay. Despite of the fact that economy of Mumbai is much more faster than Delhi, despite of the fact that growth rate in Mumbai is much more than Delhi, despite of the fact that people in Mumbai are much more faster than Delhi, it is much more advanced than Delhi, despite of the fact both the experiments will hold good in Mumbai also. Yes, sir, both the experiments will hold good in Mumbai also. C plus O2 is equal to CO2. H plus O2 is equal to H2O. It will hold good in Mumbai also. Okay, now let me take you to southern part of the country. Let me take you to Kerala, the land of backwaters. And I am in Kerala right now, and Kerala is really beautiful coastal region, and I am in the coast, and I am in my beautiful boat, houseboat inside Kerala, inside the backwaters of Kerala, and that houseboat is scrolling me through the backwaters of Kerala and showing me the natural beauty which Kerala has. I am in Kerala. Okay. I repeat the same example. C plus O2. What will it be? Sir, CO2. H plus O2. What will it be? Sir, H2O. Huh? So, there also the experiment will yield the same result. You mean in Kerala also we will get the same result? Yes, sir. Okay. Now I take you to far north, extreme north, Kashmir, Silicon Valley, Siachen Valley, and freezing temperature, sub-zero temperature, freezing. There everything freezes. We are really in a difficult situation over there. We are in Kashmir, and we are not on the borders, but much before borders, and we do the same experiment. What is the experiment? C plus O2 yields what? CO2. Oh, this time I hand over my beaker to the army guard who's there in Kashmir. The army, the defense people who are there in Kashmir, I hand over the beaker to them. I am not performing this experiment anymore, because every time I have performed this experiment, it has yielded the same result. I want to change hands now. Now the experiment is being done by that army personnel or defense personnel. So what are you trying to say? We are now tired of your examples. Hold on. I am making a very important point to all of you. So just listen for 5 more minutes, just have patience, and just tell me, just answer me patiently. You've been patient till now, really patient. Tell me what will happen in future. I handed over the beaker to the army professional, to the defense professional. And now the mixing up is being done by army professional. Tell me what will be the result. C plus O2, what will it yield? Sir, CO2. And H plus O2? H2O. Enough. Enough is enough. Now I cannot tolerate your experimentation. I am going outside the country. I am going outside India. I am going to Singapore. Singapore is one of the fastest growing economies of the world. In even less than a decade, they have been able to touch skyrocketing growth rates. Amazing companies forming their hubs in Singapore, and their infrastructure is so suitable to any corporate world that every corporate world wants to establish its head office or regional Asia Pacific office in Singapore. Singapore is one of the leading economies of the world. I go over there. I am not performing this experiment in India anymore. I am going to Singapore. Tell me, C plus O2, what will it yield? CO2. H plus O2, what will it yield? H2O. Now, let's go to US. Sir, you go wherever. Now we are fed up of your example, sir. So you go wherever in the world you go, so you will yield the same result. C plus O2 is equal to CO2, H plus O2 is equal to H2O. You will yield the same result. Sir, you go anywhere. We are not bothered about it. Now we are fed up. Okay. So if you are fed up, just one last question. One last question. If you are in Delhi and you are a human being, your heart will pump inside your body on the left hand side or on the right hand side? Sir, left hand side. Biology, basic biology. Okay, left hand side. If you are a person who's living in Mumbai, your heart will pump on the left hand side or will it pump on the right hand side? Sir, left hand side. And sir, before you ask any further questions, whether you are in Kerala, Kashmir, Singapore, US, Australia, anywhere in the world you are, your heart will definitely beat on the left hand side only. There is no exception to this rule. Precisely my point, guys. Science, if we look at science, in science there are no exceptions to rules. Every rule is a universal rule. Every rule is a universal rule. A rule which applies in Delhi will also apply in Mumbai, will also apply in Kashmir, will also apply in Kerala. Every rule is a universal rule. As far as you are in Earth, the scientific rules will apply everywhere. This is the beauty of the rules or the principles which are relating to science. Now let me give you an example for commerce. I am a rich, affluent, family owned business. I have a family owned business which is a very renowned business. So I have a supermarket in Delhi, big supermarket, chain of supermarkets in Delhi, and we sell everything. We sell groceries, we sell pulses, we sell FMCG goods, we sell chocolates, we sell dairy products, we sell coffee, we sell tea, we sell everything which is required by an individual in his day-to-day routine. We have big supermarkets all across Delhi, and we are earning huge money. And the ownership is handled by the family members, that is my family members, and this is just an example. I don't own any supermarket, just an example, FYI. So yes, the ownership is in our hands, our family's hands, and we owners take care that we provide good services, we provide good food, we provide good products to our customers at affordable prices, and we give them various facilities. They're really happy with us, and they repeatedly choose us as their preferred partner to have their day-to-day routine things. Now I am a greedy person by nature, by heart, and I thought, we have been so successful in Delhi, why don't we go to Mumbai? Why don't we expand our business? And the crores and crores of revenue which we have earned in Delhi, let's replicate the same model in Mumbai. And let's open supermarkets over there as well. With greed in my eye, with lot of hopes that I will earn crores and crores of rupees, I open supermarkets in Mumbai. Mumbai is a different economy altogether. In Mumbai, people are too fast. So, people prefer ordering everything online. So, I face terrible losses in Mumbai. I went to Kerala. In Kerala, there was already a good chain of people who were having a supermarket chain, and they were really successful in Kerala. Again, I faced huge losses in Kerala. I could not replicate that particular business in Kerala as well. However, it was very profitable in Delhi, but in Kerala it wasn't profitable. I said, okay, I'll go to Kashmir. I opened a supermarket in Kashmir. Within 15 days, that supermarket got shut because of the disturbances in Kashmir, because of the preferences which people have. People never used to buy from supermarkets. They had local markets. They didn't buy from supermarkets. I failed miserably over there as well. So guys, point is that commerce is driven by geography, economy, the existing current state of a particular area, ownership. So who owns that particular thing? How does he perform the business? So our commerce and business and industry is affected by all these factors. They are not the same. So if you change the circumstance, if you change the geography, if you change the owners, if you change the management, if you change the circumstance in which the business exists, the risks and rewards which a business has, if you change any such thing, then business or commerce is going to give you different results. They will not be the same. So, but how is it so? C plus O2 was CO2 everywhere. H plus O2 is H2O everywhere, sir. Sir, why not commerce? Guys, because commerce is an inexact science. It's not a precise science. It cannot say 1 plus 1 is equal to 2. No, 1 plus 1 can be anything in commerce. Commerce is an inexact science. You must have studied definition of commerce in your 11th and 12th standard, where in business studies we used to say that definition of commerce is that commerce is an inexact science. It's not an exact science. It is not a precise science. It's an inexact science. It might fluctuate. It might be plus 1, plus 2, or plus 1, or minus 2 and minus 1, minus 3 over the period of time. It might fluctuate depending upon the circumstances, depending upon the economy, depending upon what are the factors. Many other factors work in commerce field to make it an inexact science, an inaccurate science. So this nature of commerce of being inaccurate results into standards being developed. So now we didn't understand this. Okay, now I'll give you another example. This is, suppose I am teaching in a classroom, a big classroom which my coaching institute in Delhi has hired, and that classroom is being used by 3 teachers. First is me. I use that classroom for cost audit and BVM SPM. I take 2 subjects and I teach these 2 subjects to the students, and I use that classroom for teaching these 2 subjects. There's another teacher of CFR. He teaches CFR to CMA final students. There's another teacher of GST. He teaches GST to CMA final students. So we 3 teachers are teachers of group 4, and we share the room, the coaching institute's room together. For the entire week we take coachings over there. Okay, sir. Now my question to you would be, the rent of the room is 1 lakh rupees per month. Tell me, how should we allocate it amongst the 3 teachers? First teacher is me, teaching cost audit BVM SPM. Second teacher is CFR, teaching accounts to CMA final group 4. Third teacher is teaching GST. Tell me, what are the methods by which we can split 1 lakh rupees amongst 3 teachers and can debit them in their profit center, in their profit and loss account, the respective profit and loss account which is prepared for each of the teacher. We want to split the expense in that profit and loss account. How should we do it? I can read your mind. You are saying, sir, number of hours which a teacher uses the room should be allocated on that basis. Well done. Any other method? Sir, number of students who are being taught by that particular teacher. You can, bifurcate the rent according to that. Very well, very well, very good. Next, sir, there should be an amalgamation of these 2 factors. Student per hour should be the deciding factor of this allocation. Student per hour. You should multiply the number of students with hours, and student per hour should be the basis on which your cost should be allocated. Wow, very innovative method. You have amalgamated 2 methods. So a very, very innovative method of allocating this expense. Well done. Any other way? Yes, sir. Revenues earned by the respective teachers. So we can split their cost on the basis of revenues as well. As much revenue as is earned by teacher number 1 versus teacher number 2 versus teacher number 3, you can split your revenues according to that as well. It's all subjective. To each his own. There is no square jacketed formula in commerce. Someone would say number of students is best way. Someone would say number of hours is best way. Different people, different versions, different way of allocating the expenditure. And can you tell me which one is the correct way and which one is the incorrect way? Can you tell me that? which way is the correct way, which way is the incorrect way. No, sir. Every way is correct way and every way is incorrect way. It is perspective with which you are looking at the expenditure, and it will be subjective, subject to many other factors which you will see in agglomeration, and all those factors will play a critical role in deciding which way should we split our 1 lakh rupees of expenditure of that room rent of coaching institute. So yes, this is the problem with commerce. And I would not say problem, I would say it in a different way. This is the uniqueness of commerce. We don't have square jacketed formulas. Our principles, our policies vary from person to person, vary from economy to economy, vary from situation to situation, vary from circumstance to circumstance. Our commerce principles are like that. Our commerce principles are not fixed for everywhere. Worldwide, our commerce principles are not fixed. So if I'm going to open a supermarket in Singapore, it might have different semantics, different statistics, different outcome as compared to my supermarket in Delhi. Because the economy is different, ownership is different, supervision is different, all the factors which are governing that economy is absolutely different. I'll take a very simple example. According to Indian GAAP, according to Indian accounting standard, guys, if you purchase an asset, suppose AC, the cost of the AC, the purchase price of the AC, along with the installation cost. What is the installation cost? Installation cost is the cost of those wires which are coming along with the AC to fix them up, and the cost of that labor person who's employed to fix that AC into your wall. That installation cost is to be capitalized along with the cost of the AC. This is a principle which we follow in our accounting standards. And even the cost of the rickshawala, the tempo which brings the AC to our home or to our factory, the freight, the cost of freight of the bringing the AC to the factory will also be capitalized. This is a standard principle which we are following as per accounting standard 10, that not only the purchase price of the AC but the installation cost, but the freight cost, the cost of bringing the AC to the workable condition, all these costs should cumulatively be capitalized in the balance sheet and accordingly amortized or depreciated over the period of time. This is how our cost is capitalized as per our accounting standards. Guys, there are some accounting standards, some global accounting standards which are not Indian accounting standards, which asks you not to capitalize the freight cost. You cannot capitalize the freight cost under certain cost accounting standards, under certain accounting principles of different economies of certain part of Europe. There are accounting standards which says that no, do not capitalize the freight, because the freight has been consumed only once in the current accounting year. The freight should not be amortized over the period of time in the next years. You should not capitalize the freight. This is their policy, because they logically say that okay, AC is going to give you a benefit for the longer period of time, but the freight of that auto wala or of that person who's bringing the tempo to your home, freight of that cost of freight of that person is not going to benefit you for a longer period of time. Guys, he is not giving you services for a longer period of time. It is only and only the AC which is bringing benefits to you for a longer period of time. So according to those accounting standards, they do not capitalize freight. Now you tell me, what is right and what is wrong? So logically we find logic in those accounting standards as well. But sir, we find logic in our accounting standards as well, the Indian accounting standards as well. So sir, both have their own positives. Both feels that they are convincing. So now under this circumstance, where an expenditure can be split up against different cost centers in multiple ways, guys, under this circumstance, which one should we choose? As a businessman, so as a teacher, I want to allocate cost to different teachers. Which one should I choose? I'll be under utter disappointment. Why? Because I am not able to choose one which is best, which is the most popular one. Another teacher is saying, no, 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 the one chosen by me is not correct. You should choose someone else, somewhere, some other policy. The third teacher is saying, no, 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 both of you are wrong. We should choose this method. So there's a tussle between all three teachers on the method of allocation to be chosen for allocating the expenditure. No one is right, no one is wrong. Accounting standards, no one is right, no one is wrong. Neither is that European accounting standard wrong, nor is an Indian accounting standard wrong. So then what should we do? Here comes the role of standards. Guys, standards are principles which are agreed upon by a particular community to be followed in a particular way. For example, Indian community of chartered accountants have narrowed down the Indian accounting standards. They have decided the best way possible out of the different options which are available for treating a particular accounting entry. Similarly, us, the CMAs, the cost accountants, have, from the various options available, have chosen the best option which according to us, to our mind, is the most relevant one, and we have prescribed that. And guys, again, it is a possibility that today accounting standard, the out of the four options, first option is chosen. But it is very much possible that after 4 years it is felt that the first option was not very relevant and you change to third option. It is possible. Our Institute of Cost Accountants of India will reconsider any principle, any policy, any option which has been chosen in the cost accounting standards and may change it subsequently. It is just like your word over my word. That's it. Nothing else. Nothing is right. Nothing is wrong. The best option which according to that particular council at that particular moment, at that time when economy is at a certain stage, the best option is being chosen out of the many options. And standards are made. So standards are the benchmarks. This is a typical feature of commerce only. Science doesn't have any standards. So have you ever heard of biological standards? Have you ever heard of chemistry standards? Have you ever heard of physics standards? No, there are no such standards because their principles are universal. Our principles, commerce principles, are not universal. They vary from situation to situation. They vary from circumstance to circumstance. That is the reason why our principles deserve standards. And standards are made to comply with a very important aspect of our cost statements. And what is that aspect? Comparability. Now guys, assume a situation where Coaching Institute 1 follows number of students as the basis of allocation of expense. Coaching Institute number 2 follows number of hours as the basis of allocation. Obviously, their allocation policy differs, their expenses will differ, their profits will differ. So will you be able to compare profits of these two coaching institutes? No, because one coaching institute has followed some other way, other coaching institute has followed some other way. So their profits, their costs are not comparable. And we want cost statements, or we want financial statements which are comparable. We want to compare two companies' financial statements. We want to compare two companies' cost statements. We cannot afford to make the financial statements of company A using another technique and company B using another technique. We cannot afford to do that. Otherwise, we won't be able to compare them. Our objective is to compare financial statements, performances of two companies. And unless and until their policies are same, unless and until their accounting policies, their cost accounting policies and their entire gamut of policies which they are following in the company are same, their financials, their cost sheet will not be comparable. So that is the important reason because of which we need standards, and we need comparable standards. We need standards which are same for all the industry people who are there in a particular industry. We want them same for all, so that at least for a particular industry, say coaching industry, we are able to compare the cost sheets of all the coaching institutes which are existing pan India. That is the objective of having standards. And standards is, as I told you, a unique feature of only commerce. Science doesn't have any standards because science doesn't have principles which vary from person to person, economy to economy, and situation to situation, circumstance to circumstance. Commerce, science doesn't have any such variability, but we have variability. We have more than one way of doing a particular thing. We have more than one way of treating a particular item, transaction in our books of accounts. We have several ways of treating an item in our books of accounts. So to guide us, to instruct us, to make our financial statements, our cost statements comparable and which look alike, to have this feature, we have the standards. We have the accounting standards, we have the cost accounting standards, and third, we have the secretarial standards. So that our books of accounts are in parity with the books of accounts being prepared by all the companies falling in our industry. Our cost accounts are similar in every respect with respect to the other cost accounts prepared by other companies in that particular industry. This is the reason why our standards are related to commerce standards and our standards are developed. And yes, standards may change over a period of time. So in earlier days, we used to have historical cost method of recognizing our fixed assets in our balance sheet. Historical cost method, that is the purchase price minus the depreciation. WDV was the method used for disclosing fixed assets in our balance sheet. Now, after advent of IFRS, we have the fair value principle of disclosing the PPE, plant, property and equipment. Even the name changes, guys. So standards not only change the treatment but also may change the nomenclature which we use. They might change, they might undergo a drastic change. So earlier it was called fixed assets and it was recognized on the basis of historical cost method. Now it's known as PPE, plant, property and equipment, and it may be disclosed on the basis of fair valuation. There are techniques through which fair value should be ascertained for the assets, and that fair value is disclosed in our books of accounts. So yes, with this background in mind, I have now told you what do you mean by standards, and now I come on to what do you mean by cost accounting standards. And no rocket science, nothing very critical in it. Obviously, the standards which deal with cost accounting principles is known as cost accounting standard. Standards which deal with cost accounting principles are known as cost accounting standards. So this is the chapter which we are going to start now, cost accounting standards. So cost accounting standards are a set of standards that are designed to achieve uniformity and consistency in the cost accounting practices. Now the objective of cost accounting standards is to maintain uniformity and consistency. Now guys, let me ask you whether these two words have a similar meaning or different meaning. Words are uniformity and consistency. Both of them do have a different meaning. So just put a star on the word uniformity and just define this word. Uniformity means following similar principles as the industry So uniformity means following similar principle as the industry. So your principles should be equivalent to the policies or the principles which are being followed by the industry at large, the other competitors, the other companies which you are dealing with, which you are competing with. All those companies should follow similar accounting principles and practices. So for example, leather industry. Guys, obviously leather industry, the product is same, processes are same, capitalization, the money which is infused and the kind of machinery which is being used is the same. Almost everything is the same. Risk and rewards are the same. So what is the reason that one company would follow rent allocation policy of hours and another company would follow rent allocation policy of number of employees? There should not be a change. Single principle should be followed by all the companies which are falling under that industry in India. So uniformity means following similar principles as the industry follows. Whatever is followed by the industry, those principles are to be followed by your company also. Second is consistency. Now let us put a hashtag on consistency and let's define consistency. What do you mean by consistency? Consistency means following similar principles year on year. Consistency means that you have to follow similar cost accounting principles over a period of time. So it cannot be a situation where in year 1 you are following FIFO method of computing your inventory cost. In year 2 you follow weighted average method. Year 3 you follow LIFO. That is not possible. Your accounting policies and your accounting principles should be consistent over a period of time. You should follow same cost accounting principles. You should follow same methods of allocating your cost or revenues or whatever over a period of time. And if there is a change, then you have to explain the rationale of the change. And as a cost auditor, I should be satisfied that yes, it was the need of the hour because of which this principle has been changed, and I should disclose it in my cost accounting records, cost accounting cost sheet. I need to disclose it over there. So consistency means following similar principles year on year. Year on year I should follow the same rules. Yes, there are 3 exceptions to this rule which we will be studying when we will be starting our cost accounting standards, guys. And there are 3 exceptions. If those exceptions are triggered, then I am allowed to change my cost accounting principles which I have been following in past. I can change them if those 3 principles are satisfied. We'll be studying those 3 principles going forward. But apart from those 3 situations, there cannot be any other situation whereby our cost accounting principles should differ year on year. They should be same year on year. Okay, sir, got it. So 2 words which are of paramount importance while studying the standards are uniformity and consistency. We should be uniform in applying our cost accounting principles, and we should be consistent in applying our cost accounting principles. And who will tell us what are the consistent principles which we need to follow? Guys, the cost accounting standards will tell us. Yes, got it. In cost accounting practices, in absence of uniform costing methodologies or disclosure requirements, no meaningful inter-firm comparisons can be made by the companies in the industry. So if I want to compare those 2 companies, if I want to have a comparison of 2 companies, then for having that comparison, I need standards. I need some common thread between all the areas of cost accounting by which I can compare 2 companies. So inter-firm comparison is possible only and only when there are certain standards pursuant to which cost accounting records are made. The benefits of cost accounting standards are, what are the benefits? They provide a structured approach to measurement of cost. So a structured approach is there, a standard approach is there for measurement of cost using the cost accounting standard. In manufacturing process or service industry, any of the industry, there is a uniform method, there is a consistent method which can be used for ascertaining our cost. So structured approach to measurement of cost. Integrate, harmonize and standardize the cost accounting principles and practices. So it will integrate all the practices together and will tell you the best practice to follow. And not only you, but entire India, entire country will be regulated by those cost accounting practices and those cost accounting principles. Provide guidance to users to achieve uniformity and consistency in classification, measurement, assignment and allocation of cost. So guys, you must have heard these 4 words which are really important as far as cost is concerned. Classification of cost, measurement of cost. Measurement means amount of cost. Assignment of cost. How will we assign this cost? To which account head will this cost pertain to? And allocation of cost to the product centers. So there are cost centers, so we need to allocate cost to particular cost centers. So guys, whatever we do with cost, that is to be consistent with the cost accounting standards. And our cost accounting standards will provide guidance to user to achieve uniformity and consistency in classification, measurement, assignment and allocation of cost to the products or services. We will attain a commonality amongst all the allocations only when we follow these cost accounting standards. Arrive at the basis for computing cost of product, activity or service where required by legal or regulatory bodies. So wherever legal or regulatory bodies require us to compute some cost, like they require us to compute the transportation cost. Suppose some regulatory authority wants us to compute the transportation cost. Now the question is, what all expenditure should be allocated or assigned to the transportation cost? Who will tell us this? It will be told by the cost accounting standards. Suppose if some regulation asks me to compute the total cost of labor. What is the labor cost which has been incurred in your organization? Tell me that. If some company asks me that, then it will be told to me by cost accounting standard. Next, enable practicing members to make use of cost accounting standards in attestation of general purpose cost statements. So whenever a practicing cost accountant needs to attest means certify cost of production, at that given point in time, the cost accountant in practice should refer to the cost accounting standards. Because guys, to give a very simple example, in cost plus contracts, so Delhi Metro or Metro of any state, the government has got a contract with the infrastructure real estate developer that whatever cost you incur, I will give you 15% of the cost as margin and I will reimburse the revenue to you. Under such a situation, higher the cost, better it is for the real estate developer. Higher the cost, better it is for the real estate developer. Under this situation, under this circumstance, it will be beneficial for the real estate developer to incur more cost. Or even if it doesn't incur more cost, then it would be lured to load extra cost or absorb the overheads in a much more fashion, in a much more heavy manner. If the allocation should have been done of say 20,000 rupees, he would allocate 40,000 rupees. He would deliberately allocate more. He would deliberately absorb more. He would deliberately choose the rates which are higher than the industry rates. To curb this practice, we have cost accounting standards. Now cost accounting standards will tell me how much should be allocated, how much should be assigned, how much should be absorbed. Cost accounting standards will tell me this fact. So it enables the practicing member to make use of cost accounting standards in attestation of general purpose cost statements, and it assists in clear and uniform understanding of all related issues by various user organizations, government bodies, regulators, research agencies and academic institutions. So it gives us a clear understanding of what are the issues with the cost pertaining to a particular industry, what are the costing profits, why is profit more, why is profit less. All these things are told to us by these cost accounting. When we follow the cost accounting standard, then we are able to analyze this object, this fact very, very carefully, that why is profit more or why is profit less. Because guys, profit more or less definitely depends upon performance of the company, but it also depends upon the kind of accounting policies which you follow. You put additional depreciation in your books of accounts. You underestimate your useful life of the asset and you put additional depreciation. Your profits are automatically going to go down drastically. So profits is definitely a result of your performance, but they are also impacted by the policies which you follow. And if you follow correct policies, then your profits will be able to reap the benefits which you want from your profits. Your profits will be higher. So to say, profits will be higher. Profits will be accurate. And you will be able to compare why is my competitor earning so heavily and why am I into losses. You will be able to compare instantly if you follow cost accounting standards. Okay, sir, got it. Then what are the cost accounting standard board? Guys, this is a board which has been developed in India, which is responsible for formulation of the cost accounting standards. Its sole objective of this board is to prepare standards which are followed by the entire industry, and prepare such standards appropriately, and prepare and revise these standards whenever it is required. So this standard, this board is really the apex board which looks after the cost accounting standards of the entire country, of entire India. So CASB, set up by the Council of Institute of Cost Accountants of India, the main objective of CASB is to, what is the objective of CASB? It provides guidelines on standard cost accounting principles. So what should be the cost accounting principles? How should those cost accounting principles be applied in a particular business? What should be incorporated in cost sheet? What should not be incorporated in cost sheet? All these aspects are looked forth by CASB, Cost Accounting Standards Board. Assist companies and cost accountants in preparation of uniform cost statements. This is the biggest objective which is being achieved by CASB. Guys, we want uniform cost statements. Uniform means similar in industry. They should be similar cost accounting statements. The entire industry should have same cost accounting statements, and sorry, not same cost accounting statements, but cost accounting statements prepared on the same basis, so that we are able to compare the results. So this is the responsibility of CASB, to assist companies and cost accountants in preparation of uniform cost statements. Develop cost accounting standards on important issues and topics related to cost and management accounting. So this is an important requirement or objective of CASB, that it develops the cost accounting standards on all the issues which are related to cost and management accounting. So guys, simple as that. Finance charges are not included in cost and management accounting. Amortization cost, interest, amortization of financial assets like debenture, the debenture discount written off, etc., etc., preliminary expenses, all these are not accounted for while drafting our cost sheet. All these elements, all these issues, what treatment should we follow of a particular item in cost sheet, all these things are dealt with by the Cost Accounting Standards Board. Next, assist the management to uniformly follow standard cost accounting practices in the matter of compliance of statutory obligation. Now this is an important objective of Cost Accounting Standard Board, guys. The management of the companies should uniformly follow the standards of accounting while doing the compliance to statutory obligations. What is the statutory obligations? Guys, statutory obligation is to prepare your cost records as per section 148(1) of the Companies Act. To prepare your cost statements, to get your cost statements audited under section 148(2). Further, there are several statutory requirements which requires the company to get their cost of production signed or audited by a practicing cost accountant, because that cost of production forms basis of paying, say, GST. So there are certain elements like the captive consumption. So while computing the GST on captive consumption, we are required to produce a certificate by the cost accountant in practice. So cost accountant in practice has to sign the cost of production of captive consumption goods before the company pays GST on these goods. So to have all the statutory obligations in place, to comply with all the statutory obligations, the cost accounting standards assist the management to know what is to be added over there, what is not to be added over there. Because guys, it's very simple. If a company with a malified intention wants to reduce the burden of GST, it will correspondingly reduce the cost of production of captively consumed good. It will automatically reduce the burden of GST. And if it wants to increase the burden of GST, then it can safely increase the cost of production of captively consumed goods. It's very, very simple to what income tax does. If you want to lower your income tax burden, then reduce your income, increase your expenses. Similarly, If you want to reduce or increase your any other statutory levy, then you can reduce or increase the cost of production by using different costing principles in different situations. You can very well do that. And to refrain you from doing this, to refrain the management of any company from doing this, we have the cost accounting standards. Next, help in maintaining the cost accounting records under section 148(1). Of course, the biggest assistance or the biggest aid which is there while making our cost accounting records is cost accounting standards. Cost accounting standards will only tell us what is the format in which we will prepare our cost accounting records, what should be allocated, what not should be allocated out of the several absorption methodologies, which methodology is the best and to be followed by the company, etc, etc, etc. So while maintaining the cost accounting records under section 148, the cost accounting standards will assist the companies in calculating or recording the cost related data accurately. Then last, helps the management in better cost management. So the management will be able to manage its cost well if they are following cost accounting standards, because cost accounting standards ensure that the cost sheet which is prepared by any company, or the cost statement which is prepared by any company, is free from any biasness, any prejudice. It is free because it has been prepared on the basis of the cost accounting standards. And if the cost sheet is based on a cost accounting standard and it is not influenced by the personal opinions of a particular person, because guys, personal opinion might impact the absorption rate, personal opinion might impact the allocation rate, personal opinion might impact the assignment, what cost should be assigned to where, personal opinions might impact that as well. So to curb our cost sheet from being biased by any individual opinion, we follow cost accounting standards, and it helps management in better cost management. We are able to manage our cost better. We are able to know how much cost has been incurred in the previous year and how much cost has been incurred in the current year. Differential is so and so, and hence it is an increase or a decrease situation. We are able to analyze this properly. So it helps management in better cost management. Then what are the cost accounting standards prescribed by CASB or the board? Guys, there are 24 cost accounting standards which are prescribed by the CASB. It's CAS 1, classification of cost; CAS 2, capacity determination; CAS 3, production and operation overhead; CAS 4, cost acquisition, supply of goods, provision of services; CAS 5, determination of average equalized cost of transportation; CAS 6, material cost; CAS 7, employee cost; CAS 8, cost of utilities; CAS 9, packing material cost; CAS 10, direct expenses; CAS 11, administrative overheads; CAS 12, repair and maintenance cost; CAS 13, cost of service cost center; CAS 14, pollution control cost; CAS 15, selling and distribution overheads; depreciation, amortization; interest and finance charges; research and development cost; joint cost; royalty, technical know-how; quality control; manufacturing cost; overburden removal cost; treatment of revenue in cost statement. I know the question which is boggling in your mind now. The question which is rotating in your mind. I know that question precisely. Sir, do we need to remember all these CAS by their name by heart? Answer is, of course, yes. You have to remember all these cost accounting standards by their names. You have to remember them, come what may. But let me tell you shortcut. Let me tell you some ABC analysis of these cost accounting statements. Guys, CAS 1 to 10 are the most important cost accounting standards, so I'm categorizing them as A category. Cost accounting standard 1 to 10 are the most important cost accounting standards from a practical as well as theory standpoint, and from 1 to 10 these are mostly practical cost accounting standards. So they definitely are the most important cost accounting standards, 1 to 10. Then 11 to 18 are category B cost accounting standards. 11 to 18 Not very important, but you should just go through their theory once to understand what is the concept behind these cost accounting standards. No practical question coming from these standards, only theoretical question coming from these standards. Only one of these standards would have a practical question, which I will let you know while I'm doing that particular standard. Then category C, 19 to 22 is category C. 19 to 22 is category C. 23, 24 is again category B. So this is the bifurcation, and it is again based on trend, guys. So the exam pattern can vary from this trend substantially. So do not feel that this is the absolute analysis. This is on the basis of trend, which I've told you that first to 10 CAS are the most important CASs. 11 to 18 are second most important CASs, and 23, 24 are also second best CASs. And a CAS 19 to 22 are the third best CASs, which are to be revised by you, which are to be really understood by you and learned by you. And while doing these CASs, I will tell you which portion of the CAS is more important than other portions. There are certain portion of CASs which are more important, other portions are less important. So we'll be dealing with all these things during our sessions on cost accounting standards. And guys, if you notice, these two are the basic cost accounting standards which tell about the classification of cost and capacity. Other than these two, all the other cost accounting standards refer to one of the heads of your cost sheet. So all the heads of your cost sheets are summarized into these standards. All the heads. So this cost accounting standards is nothing but a abridged version or a consolidated version of all the heads which are there in your cost sheet, and we will be studying how do you compute cost of those particular line items of your cost sheet using this cost accounting standards. So we will, for example, we will determine what all things should be added in material cost. We will determine what all cost should be added in employee cost, what all cost should be added in cost of utilities. We'll be determining the individual cost and what should be added, what shouldn't be added, which overhead should be absorbed, which overhead shouldn't be absorbed, whether VRS, voluntary retirement scheme compensation, should be added in employee cost. All these questions which you have done in your costing in past will be answered by these questions. And guys, now onwards, you will not use logic while doing costing. You will use law while doing costing. So earlier you used to by your logic say, oh, VRS compensation is not an operational expenditure, so it should be excluded while computing cost of production. You used to use your logic. Now onwards you will not be using your logic, but you will be using this law which has been framed and which has been drafted for you to prepare your cost sheet. So yes, that's all for this session. In the next session, we'll be starting with our cost accounting standards, that